Hello. Today's lesson is on rotations. This is the fourth of four transformations we are learning. The first one we learned was how to do a reflection. Then we learned how to do a dilation. Then we learned how to do a translation. All three of those transformations were pretty easy. Now the fourth one, rotations, they're a little bit more difficult. They're not as straightforward as the other ones are. So as you're watching this video, pay extra close attention to what it is that we are doing. Okay, so before we actually do our rotations, we need to define what a rotation actually is. So we're going to write down that a rotation is just basically a turn. Okay, so like when you rotate somewhere, you are turning. So for example, if you snowboard and you do a 360, it means that you went all the way around. You turned all the way around and you're back to where you belong. So which direction is clockwise? I want you to draw the direction on your paper and then compare your answer with mine. All right, so clockwise means it's going this way. All right, because remember it goes 12, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, so this is clockwise. So go ahead and draw in what counterclockwise is going to look like. And counterclockwise is going to look this way. Now in the top right hand corner of your paper, you pasted in a different set of directions that I gave you for doing rotations. This only works if your rotation is centered around the origin and if they're multiples of 90 degrees, which is all we're going to do for our class. So if you could look at question number 1, we are going to follow all the steps. I'm going to flip back and forth. We're going to follow all the steps that we have right here, 1 through 5, in order to do our rotation for question number 1. So number 1 says, given rectangle ABCD with coordinates A 24, B 54, C 52, and D 22, find the new rectangle ABCD prime after a 90-degree clockwise rotation. Okay? So let's go ahead and read the directions of what it is that we need to do. Step number 1 says to draw the original figure. Now if you look at your graph, the original figure is already drawn for you, so you don't have to do that at all. Okay? So I will put a check mark next to this right here. You don't have to do that. I'm just going to show you how we're going to go through it all. Step number 2 says to turn the paper. This is based on the directions that it tells you. And it says do not graph the coordinate when the paper is turned. So do no type of graphing whatsoever when your paper is turned. That is the biggest mistake that people will make. So be extremely careful about what you are doing right here. So let's go ahead and look at this paper right here. I am literally going to turn my entire paper. If I had the paper in front of me, I would have turned my entire paper. You need to turn your entire paper. I'm just going to turn the graph. And I'm going to turn the paper based on what it said. It says to rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. So remember, if this right here, if I were to go all the way around, this is 360. 90 degrees is a quarter of that. So this right here, I call this one turn. This brings me to a 90-degree turn. If I were to do 2 turns, I would have 180 degrees. If I were to turn my paper 3 times, it would be 270 degrees. And then the fourth time would bring me back up to 360 degrees. Okay, so I'm going to turn my paper. Again, I literally want you to turn your actual paper so that you can see it looking exactly like this. Now this is going to be kind of like your fortune teller. It's going to tell you that when you're done and your paper is back to normal, this is where your new graph is going to be. Now remember, that's because I went clockwise, okay? So it started in quadrant 1. It originally was up here, just like this. And now it's going to be in quadrant 4. So this is where my new image is going to be once I am done. So let's look back at our list and see if we did everything we need to do in step 2. Step 2 says to turn the paper, which we did. Your paper should still be turned in front of you, okay? Now step 3, this is where it's very difficult, so pay close attention. Determine what the new coordinates are while the paper is turned. Again, you are doing no graphing at all while your paper is turned, all right? So right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what this new coordinate A is going to be right here. So this new coordinate A I'm going to completely ignore my x and my y axes. Completely, because once I turn it, everything is different. This is no longer the y-axis, it's really the x-axis. I'm also going to completely ignore the signs of my numbers right here. You don't have to cross any of this stuff out. I'm just showing you that we are going to ignore it. So if I were to figure out what the coordinate of this new A is going to be, all I have to do is start at the origin and ask myself, how do I get from the origin to this A? In order to go from the origin to this A, I have to go to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a positive 4, and then go down 2. Remember, when you graph out your coordinates, your x value, your right or left value, always goes first. So that means that my A prime would be positive 4, since I went to the right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2. So this would be negative 2. Again, it's a little tricky, but once you get used to the weirdness of it, it's not that bad. So let's go ahead and figure out what B prime would be. So B prime, in order to get from the origin to this coordinate right here, I would go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So since I'm going to the right, it is a positive 4, and since I'm going down, it's a negative 5. Okay, let's do C. To go to C, I would go to the right 1, 2, and down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So C prime would be 2, negative 5. And then lastly, I'm going to look and see how do I get to D. So to get to D, I would go to the right 2 and down 2. So that means that D prime would end up being 2, negative 2. Okay, hopefully you understood that. If you didn't, I suggest that you rewind this a little bit and re-watch it so you can make sure you get it, because this is really important to make sure that you understand. Notice how I did not do any graphing at all while my paper was turned. So go ahead and look back at the list of steps. Step number 5 says to graph the new coordinates. So we have officially completed our rotation of 90 degrees clockwise. So if you can take a look at question number 2. Number 2 is the exact same question. Graph rectangle ABCD with the coordinates that we graphed out. Find the new rectangle after 180 degree clockwise rotation. So this time it's the same thing, except I'm not going to rotate it 90 degrees, I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Step 1, draw the original figure. Check, it's already drawn for you. Okay. Step 2 asks you to turn the paper, but do not graph the coordinates when the paper is turned. So again, I literally want you to take your paper and turn it 180 degrees, which is really just upside down. Remember, 180 degrees is like 2 of these quarter turns that we're doing right here. So I've done that. Step number 3 asks us to determine what the new coordinates are while the paper is turned. So let's go ahead and figure out what our new coordinates are going to be here. So my A is right here. This is going to be my A prime actually. So you have to ask yourselves, how did I get from the original coordinate, or excuse me, the origin to A prime? So in order to get from here to here, I have to go to the left 2 and I have to go down 4. So my coordinate is going to be negative 2 because I went to the left 2, negative 4 because I went down 4. Okay? Same thing with my B prime, C prime, D prime. I actually want you to press pause and try to see if you can get these on your own, and then go ahead and press play when you're ready to go, and you can compare your answers with mine. Alright, so B prime, in order to get from the origin to B prime, I would go to the left 5 and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So my B prime would be negative 5, negative 4. Okay, C prime, to get to C prime, I would have to go to the left 5 and down 2. So it would be negative 5, negative 2. And then to go to D prime, I would go to the left 2, down 2. So this D prime right here would be negative 2, negative 2. And I figured out what my new coordinates are. Notice I did not do any graphing at all while my paper was turned. So then I can go back right here and look at my list of steps. Number 3, determine what the new coordinates are while the paper is turned. This time your handwriting is going to be upside down. That is fine. Number 4, turn the paper back. So I'm going to take my graph right here, and I'm going to turn my graph back. You should turn your whole entire paper back. And then step number 5 asks you to graph out the new coordinates. So I'm going to go ahead and graph out what my new coordinates are right here. So A prime was -2, -4. So this is where my new coordinate is going to be for A prime. B prime was -5, -4. C prime, you know what, I should label these first. So this right here is A prime, and this right here is B prime. C prime is -5, -2, so we'll go to the 5 to the left and 2 down. So this will be C prime, and then this will be D prime because I went to the left 2 and down 2. Okay, so this is C prime, and this is D prime. All right, so then I would go ahead and connect the dots, and this right here is my new rectangle. All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, you should be feeling comfortable with rotations. So I actually want you to do number 3 on your own. Make sure that you turn it exactly how many you need to turn it, since it's 270 degrees clockwise. Make sure that you turn your paper 1, 2, 3/4 turns this time, okay? Don't do it 4, because 4 brings you right back to where you were to begin with. So again, 1, 2, 3/4 turns right here. And go ahead and write down what your new coordinates are going to be. Go ahead, try it on your own, and then compare your answers with mine. Okay? All right, so I'm going to write down what A prime now is. I went to the left 4 and up 2, which means that A prime should be -4, 2. B prime, I went to the left 4 and up 5, so it's -4, +5. For C prime, I went to the left 2 and up 5, so it's -2, +5. And then for D prime, I went to the left 2 and up 2, so it should be -2, +2. All I need to do, remember I didn't do any graphing at all while my paper was turned. I need to turn my paper back exactly how it was, and then I can go ahead and graph out my 4 coordinates, so -4, +2, right here. -4, +5 goes right here. I'll call this A prime. I will call this over here B prime. Sorry about that. This is a prime right there. C prime was -2, 5, so I'll put my C prime right here. And then D prime was -2, 2, so I'll put my D prime right there. And then I can connect my dots to get my new rectangle. And that's how you do rotations. Hopefully you guys understand the process of doing a rotation. Next time I see you in class, we will go over this chart right here, and we will also go over our 3 properties really quickly, just to make sure you guys are okay with rotations. Again, this was a tricky process, so if you were confused, please, please, please re-watch anything that confused you. And if you're still confused, please come see me for help, and I'd be more than happy to help you. All right, have a good rest of your day.